gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Maryland State Firefighters Association Annual President's Banquet. It's a pleasure to see you all once again here at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. For those of you who have not been here before, the relationship that has been developed here is absolutely outstanding. And in our minds and with our gratitude, we recognize the fact that the United States Navy and the Marines, in celebration with our state's first responders, firefighters, and EMS personnel, is what locks us together. And it's a pleasure to come here to Annapolis to share this facility with them. In order to do this in perfect form, I would like to ask that our honor guard and pipes and drums come forward and please present the colors. If you are able, please stand at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Miss Fire Prevention, Sierra Hawkins, and followed by the National Anthem, which will be sung by Bridget Weishar.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Sierra, and Bridget, thank you both for your renditions. I now ask Chaplain Sam Mann to please come forward and offer the invocations.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we are here before you. Our hearts are full. We are grateful for the work done this past year, both of our organizations, the MSFA and the LAMSFA, and we thank you for giving us wisdom, dedication, and passion by all our members and leaders that are in this room tonight. Lord, bless this food prepared for us, and let it nourish our bodies, and let us enjoy one another's company and fellowship and honor. Lord, you have put forth leadership in President Charles Simpson and President Joan Kramer, and let us be as one in your name and in your holy name. And at this time, we'd like to please, Lord, keep all our first responders safe and return home after every shift. Let us return home safely this evening to our families, and we pray these in your name. Amen.
Drummaker, by your command. Before you all sit down, please give a big hand to our honor guard and the pipes and drums. And we thank both of those groups for a wonderful performance. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce the Honorable Aruna Miller. Aruna Miller is the 10th Lieutenant Governor of the state of Maryland. She graduated from Missouri University of Science and Technology with a degree in civil engineering and chose a life of public service in Maryland, spending 25 years working at the local Department of Transportation in Montgomery County to improve the safety of the public and alleviate traffic and create an equitable transportation access to connect people to opportunities. From 2010 to 2018, she represented District 15 in the Maryland House of Delegates, where she worked with her constituents to create legislation to invest in STEM education, streamline the regulatory process for small businesses, and was a champion for working families, survivors of domestic abuse, and the environment. For over 30 years, she has lived in Montgomery County with her husband, David, where she raised her 3 daughters. As Lieutenant Governor, her policy profile includes matters relating to transportation, mental health, and STEM equity. She serves as chair of the Governor's Work Zone Safety Work Group, dedicated to making highway work zones safer and protecting the lives of workers, motorists, and first responders. The Lieutenant Governor also chairs Maryland's first Council on Interfaith Outreach, which convenes faith leaders across religions and across the state of Maryland to bridge divides and increase religious tolerance and hate and better serve all communities. We graciously welcome Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller to the podium for her remarks, and it is a pleasure to have her with us this evening. Madam Lieutenant Governor.
Okay, you got it. Chief Brooks, thank you so very much for your very punctual introduction of me. I apologize that I came here just a little bit late. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be with the Maryland's volunteer fire and rescue leaders. You know, most organizations struggle just to find volunteers, yet somehow the Maryland State Firefighters Association has 27,000 members across the state of Maryland. Now, this must be an incredible recruiting strategy that you have going, or perhaps the Maryland firehouses are home to some of the best food in the state. I'm going to guess it's both of those. No, thank you to the many who have joined us to celebrate this evening. Again, thank you so much, Chief Brooks, to President Simpson and President Kramer, and Senator Jennings with District 7, and to all our elected leaders that are here. And a great big shout out to Secretary Strickland with the Maryland Department of Emergency Management, to the distinguished guests, and most importantly, to the men and women, volunteer firefighters, rescue personnel, EMS providers, ladies auxiliary members, the people who answer the call when Maryland needs them the most. Again, I am Aruna Miller, your Lieutenant Governor, and it's such a great honor to be with each and every one of you tonight. Now, I know that tonight is a celebration of leadership, but it's also a celebration of something much bigger than any one of us: service. The kind of service that happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, in the pouring rain, on holidays, at family dinners, one that puts you in harm's way. The kind of service that no one understands better than the people that are in this room today. And I know that every firefighter in this room has a story to tell. Some are about the unique and funny moments on the job. Some are about the lives you've saved. And some are about the calls that stay with you forever. I'd like to share a story with you of one of your own family. Lieutenant Eddie Godwin, a 30-year veteran of the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company. This past February, Eddie and I testified together on a bill called Mason's Law. The bill is named after 13-year-old Mason Kearns, who tragically lost his life after a flash flood swept him into a storm drain in Mount Airy last July. During the bill hearing, Eddie recounted the heartbreaking story of that day, where he and 5 other firefighters did everything they could to save Mason. They fought the rushing water, they fought the conditions, they fought the clock. But despite all their best effort and collective efforts, they could not save Mason. The force of the rushing water and the powerful section of the storm drain were simply too much to overcome. Eddie said that he keeps his tennis shoes that he wore that day near the front door of his home now. No one in his home is allowed to move them or touch them. They are a daily reminder, he said, of a day he will never forget. It is a story about the heart of a firefighter. I share this story with you because Eddie's heartfelt testimony did more than move the committee. It changed the law. Governor Moore signed Mason's Law into law this past month. In doing so, Mason's Law requires a certain open drainage inlets to have grates, which will help save other Marylanders. I hope every member of MSFA firefighters in this room remembers sometimes you save a life by pulling someone from danger. And sometimes, even when the outcome is heartbreaking, you save lives by what you do after the call is over, by sharing your story and by advocating for change. This is the extraordinary thing about service. Its impact doesn't end when the sirens stop, and neither does yours. You know, most people see firefighters and remember their best days. The stories of rescue, a saved life, a family reunited, But what they don't see are the calls you carry with you, the ones that stay with you, the ones that change you, and the ones to remind you why this work matters so much. And that spirit can be found throughout this room tonight, in firefighters, in auxiliary members, and in the leaders we are celebrating tonight, including President Simpson. So President Simpson's fire story is one of lifelong dedication. For more than 5 decades, he's answered the call as a firefighter, paramedic, instructor, and mentor. And then there's President Kramer. President Kramer's fire story is that which came full circle. Nearly 30 years ago, she joined the Silver Spring Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary to support her son, Brian. That's a remarkable full circle story of leadership and service. Please join me in thanking each of these extraordinary individuals for their service and leadership. And I want to thank each and every one of you that's here tonight and the nearly 27,000 volunteers across the state who serve the MSFA. And the Moore Miller administration is proud to stand with the Maryland's fire rescue community. That is why Governor Moore signed the Jimmy Malone Act and CAPES Act to strengthen cancer screening and protections for firefighters. Now, probably many of you in this room knew Jimmy, served with him, and called him a friend. So did I. We both served together in the Maryland House of Delegates. And anyone that knows Jimmy knows that Jimmy was bigger than life kind of person. He had a firefighter's heart, a public servant spirit, and he never, ever stopped fighting for the people he served. And so it's such an honor to have this build named after him. And again, the service he provided and his spirit is going to continue to help other firefighters. We're also continuing to make our investment in the Volunteer Company Assistance Fund. This year, we provide an additional $500,000 to the program, and the Board of Public Works approved more than $3.3 million in low-interest loans to help volunteer departments to purchase fire engines, ladder trucks, ambulances, and other critical equipment. And it is why we will continue to be working alongside the Maryland State Firefighters Association to ensure Maryland's volunteer, fire, rescue, EMS personnel have all the tools and resources and support that they deserve. So on behalf of Governor Moore and the state of Maryland, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, for your sacrifice, and for answering the call. Now, firefighters have the best stories, not because of all the excitement and danger that comes with your job, but because every single one of your stories is a story of service and heart. Thank you so much for having me here this evening.
At this time, I'd like to invite President Simpson to come forward for a presentation to the Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Chief. You know, it's not just an honor, it's really a pleasure to be able to present. Get it out of here. Wrapped up very good. Lieutenant Governor with a Maryland State Firefighters shirt with her name on it. She has definitely shown that she is there for the fire departments. Lieutenant Governor, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Oh, sure. Oh, no, sure.
Yeah, sure.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you.
One picture.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Take it. Oh, you too? President Kramer, Lieutenant Governor, before you go too far, we have President Kramer from the other side, and she has something for you as well.
I wanted to present you this pin. It is of the Black-Eyed Susan, the Maryland State flower, and it's the symbol of the Ladies Auxiliary. So whenever you think about us, you'll have a pin to remember us.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So are you still in Silver Spring?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well then you and I are going to have to catch up. I'm from Montgomery County as well.
Oh, wonderful. We will.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, President
Got my
Kramer.
cousin Ben Parma. I need to see him too.
Is he your cousin?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
Oh, I want to get a picture. Sure.
Us girls were having such a good time there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. And Lieutenant Governor, I would share with you, I have no idea where you are. There you are. I would share with you that you'll notice that all the gentlemen in sport coats have a Black-Eyed Susan on their lapel. It's a rule. Ladies rule, and there's a fiscal penalty if we appear without it. So it's lovely to see you. We'll always look forward to seeing you with your Black-Eyed Susan. But we won't exercise that other thing. Don't worry about that. Thank you, ma'am. It was a pleasure to have you with us this evening. Next, we're going to hear from Senator J.B. Jennings. And I'm going to ask him to begin to make his way up here. Senator Jennings is a Republican member of the Maryland State Senate and represents the 7th District, which includes parts of Baltimore and Harford counties. Senator Jennings has served in the Maryland Senate since 2009 and is known for his focus on issues like public safety, education, all while he is advocating for fiscal responsibility and reducing government spending. Senator Jennings I have known for quite some time. He was in the Jacksonville Volunteer Fire Company when I was in the Hereford Volunteer Fire Company. When Kathy and I lived in Hereford, he managed the farm store there, and it was a pleasure to always see him. Occasionally, it involved helping lift some bales of hay, which was fine, and it's wonderful. He is also a member of Maryland's Air National Guard, where he has served as a loadmaster and is now with the Aviation Cyber Security Initiative of the Air Force. I'm very proud of him for that. This past legislative session, Senator Jennings introduced a very important piece of legislation that will benefit the volunteer fire service for many, many years to come. The no-cost preventative cancer screenings for volunteer and retired volunteer firefighters bill. Through his dedication to public safety and the Volunteer Fire Service of Maryland, Senator Jennings saw this bill through to the very end to get it passed into law. It's a pleasure to welcome him to our podium this evening. Please join me in greeting Senator J.B. Jennings.
Well, thank you. It is a true honor to be here. Wow, it's a long room. Usually they're in front of you, so you got to go back and forth here. As the chief said, I used to be at the Jacksonville Volunteer Fire Company. Joined when I was 16 years old. In fact, Joel McCrae and I went through the fire academy together many, many years ago. And I could tell you some of the best times in my life were being a volunteer firefighter. As the Lieutenant Governor said, stories, I could sit here all night and tell you stories of calls we were on, some fun calls, and of course the horrific, terrible calls that we have to take. As much as I love that, when my wife and I got married, she didn't know I had a pager. So we're laying there in bed the one night, dead asleep. Tones go off. And you know how quick you are. You're out of bed, pants are on, shoes are on, shirt's on, out the door I go. And I didn't even look at her. I'm gone. I'm doing what I do. So I go on this call. I come back about an hour later. And when I come inside, lights are on in the bedroom, and she's sitting there and goes, "What was that?" I said, "Well, I was a volunteer firefighter." She goes, "Yeah, we need to talk about this." She goes, "How often does it go off like that?" I said, "You never know. So when they need us, we go. That's the service we provide." So fortunately, I was able to work with her and say, okay, I'll turn it down some. So then I put it, instead of it, being loud over here on her side, I'd move it on my side, so eventually we worked it out. But, I volunteered for about 17 years at Jacksonville. There at the end, made a decision in life. Some people say it's a midlife crisis. At the age of 34, I decided to join the military. And I couldn't do both. Being a volunteer is tough. You got to keep up with your hazardous material, your bloodborne pathogens, everything we have to do, make the calls, be at the meetings. I couldn't do that and join the military and the reserves. So at Jacksonville, I told everybody, hey, I've been a great 17 years. It's time for me to go somewhere else. So for the last 18 years, I've been in the Maryland Air National Guard, serving there. And in fact, today was a drill weekend, so took my fatigues off, put this on, and came right down. So, but I'm kind of giving you my background on where I am and how I came in the legislature. And I got to tell you, worst part is you have me before dinner. Richard, this is tough. I want to kind of speed up so everybody wants to eat. So, deal with it. You got cake. Eat the cake. Did you already eat the cake down there? Can they get more cake over here? They ate theirs. So when I joined when I decided to run in 2002 for the House of Delegates, I came from a farming background, and as a volunteer firefighter, it's issues I wanted to fight for. I got elected, and I was put on in the House of Delegates, I was put on the Environmental Matters Committee. Chairman was Maggie McIntosh. Vice chairman was this guy named Jimmy Malone. And he told me right away, don't worry, pal, you're never alone with Jimmy Malone. I'm like, okay. So quickly we hit it off, became very good friends, and also we had a gentleman by the name of Mike Weir. Mike Weir was a Baltimore County career firefighter, and Jim had put together the Fire Rescue Caucus. I was honored to serve on that, and what it is a caucus is a group of like-minded individuals, whatever the issue is. The Republican caucus I'm a member of, Fire Rescue Caucus, Veterans Caucus, but we kept having people that wanted to join that were not members of the fire service or EMS. And Jim was very adamant, like, no, we're talking about the issues we know here. People wanted to join just so they could put it on their resume, their letterhead, that they were a member of the Fire Rescue Caucus for the next election. And he was very adamant that we keep it closed to those who served and understand issues we're fighting for. And over the years, we fought a lot of issues. If you remember, I think it was in 2007 or 8, they tried to get rid of the trooper medevacs. They wanted to go private. We were very instrumental. Senator Glassman at the time fought very hard to save those, as well as Jim Malone. Eventually, I made it to the Senate in 2000. Actually, it was 2010. I got elected to the Senate. Came over, and there was only 2 of us who actually had been volunteers over there. Actually, no, 3, I'm sorry. Myself, Jim Mathias, and Barry Glassman. As of now, there's only 2 of us left. Myself, I don't volunteer anymore. I wish I could. I just don't have the time. But we also have Senator Jason Gallion from Harford County. I'm trying to think, where's he ride? Level. He was the chief at Level. He's still active, very active. We work together on this stuff. But we have these bills that kind of come through, and we work them, and we focus on it. And I have to tell you, and I'm being sincere on this, your legislative committee does an incredible job. First of all, they have one of the best pieces of real estate in Annapolis, that little house right there on State Circle. But they communicate with us, they reach out to us, they tell us what's going on, and they work with us. So I have to commend them. Because we have all kinds of groups that talk to us all the time, give us input, but they never follow up like your legislative committee that really does. So let's try to speed this thing up here for you so you can get your dinner. A couple years ago, they introduced, I did not introduce, I was a co-sponsor, the Jimmy Malone bill, which gave this cancer screening to career firefighters. Bill passed. Unfortunately, we lost Jim, I think, 2 years ago. And every month or few weeks or so, I'll put out newsletters and stuff about issues going on in Annapolis. And earlier this summer, I put out about that bill and mentioned Jim Malone in it, and how it was tragic that we lost him through cancer. And somebody emailed me, and the email was simple: "What about the volunteers?" ? And normally I get emails, "Hey, you're great." Some that "You're terrible, I hate you," and I always have to call my mom, "Stop sending those," but no. People do send those, and I do read them. I take the time, look through them, but I had this one email that came in. It said one sentence: "What about the volunteers?" ? And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? They're right. We breathe the same toxins, the same smoke. We do the same thing. There's no difference. So I worked with my legislative team. I said, all right, we're going to put this bill in. And I remember, for those of you who don't know, when you put legislation in, every piece of legislation comes with a fiscal note. And the fiscal note tells you what it's going to cost the state government, local governments, business, and the impact it's going to have. And Rachel from my office said, this thing's going to be expensive. I said, I don't care. Let's do it. So we introduced the bill, get the fiscal note back. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I present the bill. I had two people with me that presented, Matt Fox from Baltimore County, and I can't remember the other person that was with me. I apologize. I think he's here. But we gave our testimony, and we were sincere. We spoke from the heart. And the chairwoman afterwards, I talked to her. I said, well, how do we feel about that bill? She goes, well, I don't know. We took care of the career. I said, okay. And we were standing in her office, and there was a map of the state. I said, you see that map over there? I said, how much of that map is covered by career firefighters versus volunteers? And she looked at it for a minute and goes, I don't know. I said, I think it's about a 70-30 split. Geographically, 70% of this state is covered by volunteers. I said, if you're on the Eastern Shore, Western Maryland, Southern Maryland, parts of Baltimore County, Harford County, all of Harford County, you are served by volunteers. I said, there is no career coming in those jurisdictions. And you have to support them. And she said, you're right. So we started working through it, and we moved along, started working with other members of the committee saying this needs to happen. And, of course, you get pushbacks from the county. And every time they'd come in, I'd say to them, it's real simple. I said, it's cancer screening for volunteers. I said, if you want to get rid of the volunteers, that's fine. But let's talk about the cost it's going to cost you as a county. Because I'd have MACO and MML coming in saying the costs. I said, you think this is expensive? Wait till the volunteers go away and you have to replace them with career stations. I said, think of one station, an engine company. Let's do an average salary of $60,000 a person. I said, one shift is $240,000 a year. I said, multiply that out, 4 shifts, take a captain's pay, lieutenant pay. I said, easy, $1 million. That's one engine. I said, how many stations do you have in your county? I said, now you got to add ladder trucks, a couple rescue squads, and you could kind of see the wheels turning. So we just kept working through it. And finally, I got the word that we're going to do it. We made some tweaks to it. The one issue was I had put in the bill, because where I came, we had LoSAP. I did not realize not all jurisdictions have LoSAP. So that was like the one tweak there at the end saying, hey, not everybody uses LoSAP, so we had to go with the comptroller's office of what they consider to be active duty. And then we made sure that we took care of the retirees. Because somebody said, well, why are we taking care of the retirees? I said, because cancer doesn't hit you right away. It's not like a broken bone that happens right away. I said, it takes years for it to progress through the body if you've inhaled that smoke or whatever type of cancer you have from this stuff. So eventually we got it done. And it's actually one of the 2 pieces of legislation I've passed in my career, 24 years, hard to believe I've been there that long. It's probably up there with another piece of legislation I did for the veterans that came back from Iraq and Afghanistan. But this is, without a doubt, one of the 2 that I'm proud of. And I thank you all for what you do. My son, who's 12, keeps begging me that, hey, he wants to join. I'm like, that's great. He says, will you go with me? I said, well, we got 4 years. I live halfway between Joppa Mag and Kingsville. I said, we'll join one of them. He goes, okay, you can go to the Fire Academy with me. I go, been there, bud. I ain't doing that again. He's like, no, Dad, come on, seriously, you'll like it. I said, this body's getting old, bud. And then my wife's like, well, maybe you should do it with them. I said, you going to come? But no. So, I'm excited that my son will probably follow in my footsteps and join. He every once in a while I'll see him. I still have my Leatherman in the house. He'll put on. And but I can't stress enough the gratitude that the volunteer service does, because some people don't realize it. And in Annapolis, we have to fight with our fellow legislators sometimes who come from these urban areas that don't understand. And the one thing I've heard before, and it gets me mad, is when they say, well, volunteer. That's like, what, amateur? and you'll see me turn slowly and look at them and say, "What did you say?" They said, "Well, volunteer. What's the difference between that and like an amateur?" I said, "There's no difference between a volunteer and a career. The training's the same." And then I'll just go down this warpath on them. And I'll tell you one thing interesting about the military. No matter what your background is, when you join the military, you have to go through their training. You could be an airline pilot with Southwest with 10,000 hours. If you're going to be a pilot in the Air Force or the Navy, you have to go to flight school for them, no matter what you do. There's only 3 careers that actually they take outside certifications. Actually, it's 4, if we consider this. The 3 are clergy. If you're a minister, you come right in. Doctors, they take them right away. And lawyers. Those are the 3 professions that they take right out of their college, and they don't have to go to their actually trade school or tech school. They go through what's called, we call it salute school. Instead of going through basic training or officer candidacy school, they go for a week of learning how to salute properly and, the customs and decor of the military. But you know what the 4th one is? Firefighting. And I knew that because I was going to move from when we lost our C-130s at Martin State Airport and the C-27s, I needed to find a new home. We have a fire station. I'm like, I can start riding again. So I went down, talked to them, and I was like, I don't feel like going away. They said, you don't have to. If you got, was it NFPA 101? It said, you're good. That goes right through. The only thing you have to do is you have to go for a 3-day course down in Charleston, South Carolina on aircraft firefighting. I said, 3 days versus 6 months? It got me. But then I wound up going in the cyber world. But it's the fight that we have in Annapolis with our fellow legislators, making them understand, the urban legislators, that volunteers are just as important, if not more important, in their career, because they do it because it's a passion. As I said when I first started speaking, when that pager goes off, and the lieutenant governor mentioned it, that 2 a.m. call, you still have to work the next day. You still got to take your kids to school and do the rest of your life, but the pager goes off, you listen to the tone, see what it is, and it's a 1050 PI over on Jarrettsville Pike. It's probably bad. They need your help. You got to go. And that's why you do it. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank the men and women that serve under you with your stations. I know it is a tough time for volunteers. We're working very hard in Annapolis, and please, my door is always open. As I said, this legislation we talked about tonight came from an email, 1-sentence email. But if you have ideas on how we can help the volunteer system, let us know. Let myself, Senator Gallion, because we love this stuff. In fact, I'll be at the, I miss going down to the convention at the beach. Those were some of my best times in life. But actually, I think I'm going to go this year. My kids are like, let's go. I'm like, sounds good. So they're getting there. But again, I thank you, and I know you're hungry. I'm going to shut up now because I think I've been going long enough. So it's an honor. My door's always open. Call me if you ever need me. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. If you just stay with me for a moment, I'll ask President Simpson to return for a presentation for you as well.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, so what a story. But I can tell you that the Maryland volunteers are overwhelmed, ecstatic about the amount of work that you've done. I've heard it just constantly since November, what you've done trying to get this cancer screening legislation passed. Wow. 28,000 volunteers in Maryland are going to benefit from this down the road. So with that, we know that it's going to create some real transportation issues and so on like that, because you've got a lot of people that's going to be talking to you. So with that, I have here a little book that you can take and carry with you. Thank you. And you'll see that it has the Maryland State Firefighters logo on the front of it, so that when you're talking to people, you can show them that what it's about, what you want to do, and who you're working with. And with that, we'll also give you a bag to put everything in, and also show the Maryland State Firefighters are the people that we're proud, we're glad that you're working for us. Thank you. I will say, real quick, I carry this book bag around because you have your laptops. And staff always makes fun of me. They look like
They say, you look like a student carrying your book bag around. So you know what? I'm going to trade it in for this. So thank you very much.
Thank you
Look
very
more
much.
professional.
Okay, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Madam President, your turn.
Hi, for the senator, I have a pin for you. This is a Maryland State flower that I'm sure you're aware of, and it's also the ladies' auxiliary symbol. We want you to wear this and think about the ladies that are supporting the men who go out and fight the fires.
Well, thank you. You know what? I'm going to give you a pin I'm wearing.
Oh!
So this was a pin that Jim Malone had done for the fire caucus. It's a fire helmet with our state flag on it. So that's
Oh, my
Jimmy
goodness.
Malone's pin.
Oh,
So I'll
my
switch with
goodness.
you.
Thank you. And thank you again for all you did for us. Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was Jimmy Malone.
Thank you, Senator. It's truly a pleasure to have you here with us this evening. Hope you can spend a few minutes. Just remember, the story goes the same as it did for the Lieutenant Governor. We all wear it. All right? You have a tougher job, I think, in Annapolis doing that every day. Good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move now to a special presentation before we turn to dinner. And I'm going to ask our Miss Fire Prevention, Sierra Hawkins, to please come forward and present the tribute of the Table for One. Sierra?
In front of me is a table set for one. This table is set for many members of our service who are missing from the midst of this evening. To the community, they are firefighters. To us, they are brothers and sisters, which are unable to be with us this evening. Please allow me to share with you the symbolism of this table that has been set for the fallen. The white tablecloth symbolizes purity of their intentions to respond to their departments for every call. The full arrangement also tells a story. The red rose is for those who made the ultimate sacrifice, gave their lives so that others could live. The white rose is for those who have witnessed and experienced tragedy and destruction firsthand and are still with us today. The slice of lemon is on the plate to remind us of their bitter fate. The salt is on the plate, symbolic of their tears shed by their friends and family. The candle is a beacon of light, a symbol of their memories that will keep burning in our hearts until the Lord unites us again. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us. The chair is empty. They are not here, but let us never forget them. As we light this candle, remember those friends who are no longer with us.
Sierra, thank you for that beautiful tribute. May we never forget. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to dinner. Please be seated. Dinner will be served at your table. I was informed just before we began the program that the bar will be open immediately. Please do not stample the crowd. They're the servers who are trying to provide dinner to the rest of us. And we'll come back in a short while for the remainder of the program. Please pay attention to your video screens as our partners' video will play and run through dinner. And I want to acknowledge the partners who participated in that and thank them very much for their time and effort. Have a good dinner.
President Simpson, your more than 50 years in the fire service stands as a testament to your dedication and leadership. Over the past year, you've brought that experience to the Maryland State Firefighters Association, representing and advocating for our state's first responders. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and instructors at the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute, it is our honor to present you with this plaque as a symbol of our appreciation. Your commitment to Maryland's fire, EMS, and rescue service is truly unmatched. Your influence reaches beyond the profession, positively impacting the more than 6 million people who call Maryland home. We thank you for your leadership and your legacy and wish you well in all of your future endeavors. President Kramer, thank you for leading the Ladies Auxiliary over the past year. Today we recognize your dedication, your many contributions, and your commitment to the Maryland State Firefighters Association. We also acknowledge and applaud the time you have devoted to the organization and the vital role you played in advancing its mission. On behalf of all of us at the Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute, we present this plaque to you as a sign of our gratitude, thanking you for your service, your leadership, and your steadfast support of Maryland's fire service family.
On behalf of MEMS, the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Services Systems, I am privileged to work with MSFA and the Ladies Auxiliary leaders. Together, we ensure that the crucial perspectives of the volunteer fire and EMS service are accounted for as we continuously work to make Maryland better for all of us. The MSFA and the LAMSFA are important partners in our efforts to make Maryland's statewide emergency medical services system the best possible. President Simpson and Kramer, thank you for your leadership and collaboration, and congratulations on a great year.
On behalf of Maryland State Police Superintendent Michael A. Jackson and the entire Department of Sworn and Civilian Personnel, I congratulate MSFA President Charlie Simpson and Ladies Auxiliary MSFA President Joan Kramer being honored here this year. We're truly proud and appreciative of the service each of you have provided to the Maryland State Firefighters Association, your home departments, and the communities you serve. Without selfless leaders such as yourselves and the volunteer men and women you lead, the MSP and the Aviation Command could not fulfill our mission. Since the first medevac over 50 years ago, fire department ground providers worked alongside our pilots and medics, providing life-saving services to those in need. Since then, your personnel have assisted the Maryland State Police with over 160,000 life-saving missions. I'd like to personally thank both presidents for their leadership. We're extremely grateful for your extraordinary contributions while in office. In recognition of your individual accomplishments, each of you have been issued a superintendent salute for your unwavering support of public service. We applaud your dedication to Maryland's emergency medical services and the many years you have dedicated to helping others. Congratulations.
Good evening. My name is Becky Gilmore, and I am the Trauma Program Manager at the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center.
And I'm Justin Graves, the Director of Trauma Programs. On behalf of the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center, we extend our sincere appreciation to the outgoing presidents of the Maryland State Firefighters Association, Charles Simpson, and the Ladies Auxiliary of the Maryland State Firefighters Association, Joan Kramer.
We are deeply appreciative of your exceptional leadership and unwavering commitment over the past year, as well as the many years of dedicated service you have contributed throughout your distinguished careers. Your impact on the Maryland State Firefighters Association and the communities you serve has been both significant and enduring. Your stewardship has upheld and advanced the mission of the MSFA, reflecting a steadfast dedication to service, advocacy, and representation at the highest level. We recognize the considerable time, effort, and travel required to fulfill these responsibilities, and we are sincerely grateful for your tireless devotion.
In recognition of our respect and gratitude, we are honored to present each of you with a personalized embroidered shock trauma jacket. Please accept this token as an expression of our appreciation and as a symbol of the valued partnership we share in our mutual commitment to maintaining the highest standards in the prevention and management of critical injury and illness. We thank you once again for the exemplary service your leadership has left, a lasting legacy that will continue to guide and inspire the future of Maryland State Firefighters Association. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Clay Stamp. I'm the chairman of Maryland's EMS board, and I'm also a life member of the Ocean City Volunteer Fire Company. And as such, I understand personally what it means to be part of a wonderful Maryland State Volunteer Fire Service family. This evening, I bring you greetings on behalf of the EMS board and a reaffirmation of our commitment to meet you, working together to ensure that when that 911 call comes in, the right patient gets to the right place in the right amount of time. A system across Maryland that was built on relationships and will continue to be built on relationships. I offer you that commitment. This evening, I would like to just congratulate Charlie Simpson, Bill Faust, Lee Lutz for your leadership, as well as Joan Kramer. This organization is an amazing organization that does great work, and you have our support moving forward. I look forward to spending this evening with you, and thank you for what you do.
Hello, congratulations to Charlie and Joan on a super productive year as leadership for the Maryland State Firefighters Association and the Ladies Auxiliary. On behalf of the men and women of the Office of the State Fire Marshal, I want to congratulate you on the wonderful year that you had, and we appreciate the partnership and the friendship that we have with both of you and the leadership team that you had. We would love to really just appreciate the time that you committed to the Maryland Fire Service, and I apologize I can't be there in person, but I'm happy to send my appreciation and congratulations to you both through the video. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we come to that portion of the program when we acknowledge the people that we are here to celebrate. Our two presidents have had an outstanding year. It's been exciting, it's been full of information and full of progress. And we'll begin with the president of the Maryland State Firemen's Association, Charlie Simpson, to please come forward and deliver his remarks. Mr. President. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening, all. Wow. I don't know. I guess the good thing is I'm here. By my beep being here, I shut him up. Okay. Oh, sorry, Richard. Okay. So yeah, special welcome to the governor, Lieutenant Governor, for being here this evening. That was a fantastic talk that she gave, and certainly with Senator Jennings. Wow, it's nice to have somebody that understands what we do in the fire service and who we are. So, Secretary Strickland, Russ, good to see you, as always. I first have to say thanks to the banquet committee for putting this together tonight. What a fantastic job they've done, putting everything closer to the mic. Thank you. What a fantastic job they've done. It has really worked out well. This is their first year working separate from the convention committee, and they've done a super job. Lynn, Elaine, Ginny, Rose, Doyle, Sue, Kate, all the helpers. It's a lot of work putting all this together, and thank you very much for the work that you do. And I really have to say thank you to Chief Richard Brooks. It's kind of tough. We go back a long ways also, but he does a fantastic job. Sometimes you can't shut him up, but he does do a fantastic job in getting these things done as the MC and staying aware of all that we do. Much has happened in the MSA in the past year, and a lot of it, most of it, we can be very proud of it. It's really moving forward in today's, I guess, climate, as we're trying to get away from all of the mess with the COVID and the happenings. We're looking at recruiting people, trying to get more people involved, and certainly by having the Lieutenant Governor here, we're making an impression, and I think that's big. So, great. One of the big things that we did this year was move our office. You all know that we went from 2138 Priest Bridge Court to Drive to 2130 Priest Bridge Court. The advantage there was now we have an office that's our own. We have a storage facility that's our own. We have our staff that's working there for the MSFA and doing a fantastic job in keeping the members aware, keeping the member departments aware, and the community aware of what's going on in the MSFA, what we do, who we serve, who we advocate for, who we represent. Those are all part of our happenings of our mission. And thank you to Kate, to Lynn, for all the work that you do at the office. I have a few special guests, a few guest overall here this evening that I would like to introduce. And I tell you what, the lights are really make it very difficult, but I know they're over there. Okay, I don't think they've left yet. I'd like to really first introduce tonight my twin sister, Cherry, and her husband, Floyd Fryman. Yes, she's a little shorter, you know, but yeah. Thank you for being here. Okay, my daughter, Brandy, and her husband, Mike, and they're both here on Brandy's birthday. So, happy birthday. I've got my good friends, Dave Yingling and his wife, Tracy, Robin Stansberry and his wife, Susan. They seem to be around all the time, and that's great to have them here. From the Westminster Fire Department, our MSFA Assistant Secretary and the Westminster Fire Department Secretary, Richard Coons and his wife, Lisa. Thank you for being here. Excuse me, I've got Patty Corbin, the office manager of the Westminster Fire Department, and her husband, David. David and I have been best friends since the 4th grade. So I won't go back that far. Okay. So from the Pleasant Valley Community Fire Company, our MSFA Scholarship Chair, and the Pleasant Valley Secretary, Susan Mott, with her husband, Mike. A very special guest this evening, and I'll tell you why, Pleasant Valley Chaplain Donna Guyman and her husband, Jeff Guyman, who's vice chair of the MSFA Ways and Means Committee. He's probably one of our big $10,000 raffle sellers as well. Jeff also served as my campaign chair and has been really supportive in getting me through this president's journey. I thank them. But one of the things that makes it special, Donna's father, for many of you, probably remember John Means, who was a member of the executive committee for the MSFA and one of our trustees. So I think it's really big that Donna could be here this evening, and those of you that remember John, go up and tell her a story, things that she probably hasn't heard before. So anyway, yeah, very pleasure to have her here with us. Donna, I might add, is also, she was an EMT, one of the first EMTs at the Pleasant Valley Fire Company, and she spent over 4 decades, I guess 40 couple years, working as a nurse in the emergency department at Carroll Hospital. So it was always one of those things, if you took somebody in, she knew both sides of the story, so you better have done it right. So it was very good, and glad she could be here with us. I'd like to draw some attention to our past president, Mark Bilger. Back in 2017, 2018, I was his executive chair, and it was like, one of these days I'm going to get you back. So yeah, I said to him, a couple years ago, I said, hey, how would you like to be my executive chair? Well, he foolishly said yes. But, Mark has done a tremendous job, fantastic, outstanding job in handling the executive committee this past year, and I certainly do thank him for the work that he has done in that management. I'd like to have Bill Faust, our first vice president, our second vice president, Lee Lutz, come forward along with our Ladies Auxiliary President, Joan Kramer. You come up, please. Joan's been my sidekick throughout the year. It seems like every time we have something going on, Joan shows up and has something to say and keeps me straight. But I really like to thank Joan and the work that she's done, the leadership she's given to the Ladies Auxiliary. Wow, those people are just absolutely fantastic in what they do. Not just raising funds, but going out and meeting people and talking about the MSFA and what we do and how we support and we work with our people. So with that,
Thank you, Charlie.
yeah, Joan, I'd like to just give you a little something it's on behalf of Pleasant Valley. I know you enjoyed Pleasant Valley so much.
Yes.
And we've had such a good time at Pleasant Valley, the meetings and the work that's done there, and we've always had a good attendance. So a little something there from Pleasant Valley.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. I can't see out there. So one of the big things about being in a position like this is you've got to have some really strong leadership people behind you to help not just support you, but to continue to back the programs and carry things along. I've had two really great people working with me for the past year, 2 years. First Vice President Bill Faust, who 18 days from now, okay, will be stepping forward to assume some of these great responsibilities. Along with that, Lee Lutz will be moving forward to support Bill to be there. And I know that Bill will have that support and things will continue to move forward. The MSFA will move forward and the support they'll have. So with that, you don't have to open these now. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Bill, Lee, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. You know, it's been a pleasure working with you. It's been really a pleasure working with them. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Just a couple other acknowledgments. One of the interesting things is when I started this, and I'll even go back way long time ago, one of the past presidents was always there working with me and very supportive. And Bob Cumberland, past president, 1987. Okay, he's the senior in the past president's line. That's pretty good. Okay, so Bob, we traveled a lot the past year particularly. When sometimes I'd take a trip someplace, I'd call Bob up and I'd say, hey, would you like to take a trip here? Or Bob would call me up and say, hey, I'm going there, you want to go along? And we would travel. We had a lot of great conversations, just a lot of good conversations. We belonged to a couple organizations for over 55 years, and needless to say, we always had a lot to talk about. So Bob, thank you very much for being there. I appreciate it. I've got to say thanks to our past president, our secretary, Doyle Cox. He's always had some good advice, and when he didn't, Kathy would straighten him out and make sure it was good advice. So thank you, Doyle, and thank you, Kathy. So thank you to all the past presidents, the elected, appointed officers, the committee chairs, and the many members that make this association work. Our staff is a big key to making sure that we get things done and perform our mission. Thank you to the Executive Director, Kate Lovelace, and our Office Assistant, Lynn Hawkins. They make things work, and if they don't, they find a way to get it done. So thank you very much. And of course, they're in the back. I couldn't finish this without thanking Bonnie. She's the one that said no. Yeah, she said, I said, I want to do this journey. She said, no, you know. So we did, and she's been behind me. She's been the support. She's always been there. Soon we'll be celebrating 56 years. So I guess she couldn't give it up. So thank you, Bonnie. So thank you all again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Certainly appreciated not just for me, but the entire state, the organization, as the Lieutenant Governor said. 27,000 members rely on us on what we do. So thank you all very much. Just say, everybody, have a good evening, safe travels, and take care.
Good job, Mr. President. Well done. Thank you for your most appropriate comments. And now we'll move to the other side of the House and ask for the Ladies Auxiliary President for 25-26 to come forward. Please welcome President Joan Kramer. There you go.
Thank you. First of all, I want to introduce my family, and I hope they wave so that you can see who they are, because I can't show them off if you don't know who they are. My husband, Marshall. Marshall, wave. My stepson, Alex Kramer. My son-in-law, Colin Riley. My son, Brian Andrews. My daughter-in-law, Heather Shank-Givens. And my son, Craig Andrews. And I want to introduce some of my friends that are here today. My dear friends, Joe and Vicky Aceto and their daughter, Grace. My friend Ian and his Pleat and his wife Dawn, and my friends Mark Brown and his wife Valerie and their daughter Alyssa. I'm delighted that they're all here with us this evening. First of all, I want to thank you. It is your courage, your education, your devotion to your community that is what inspires all of us in the auxiliaries to work as hard as we do to support you. My husband is a terrific bridge player. And he always says that he plays the best bridge when he's playing with top-notch people. Well, I can't think of a better group of people that personify being top-notch than all of you in the room tonight. So thank you for 12 years of incredible, happy, fun, memorable, and inspiring 12 years that I've had going up the chair. So thank you for that. And I also want to thank my officers. I've been blessed to have the most incredible team of officers this year. And I want you to know that in the near future, LAMSFA is in very good hands. We have terrific officers coming up the chairs. And I also want to thank my committee chairs. They're the ones that do the bulk of the work in LAMSFA. So thank you to my chairs. And thank you to the past presidents. They're really the backbone of this organization, and they're always supportive of all of the officers as they're going up the chairs, and we appreciate that. So for all of you whose friendships mean so much to me, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Well done. I could ask the two presidents to please come forward, just take a position behind me. Did she make it to the chair? Okay. I'd ask Ginny Wilhite to please come forward, and she'll read the dedication of our program, okay? But we need both of you to do that.
Yes.
Let me get them because I hid them.
Okay. Yes. Yes, yes.
Each year we try to dedicate the convention book to a deserving person. This year, you're going to see when you receive it, it has a lot of tributes for people who have helped this organization, gave of their lives, and one of the things we have is dedication. So we had two people, our committee came up with two people who were very deserving. They've had many years. One I'm going to save for convention because he's not here, right? We're going to do it then. Charlie will do it. So, but the other one is here. So, would Doyle Cox please come up? Doyle's been a member of the Prince Frederick Volunteer Fire Department for over 50 years. He began Prince Frederick, and then Calvert County. He was president of the Calvert County Fire Department. He served as president of the Calvert County Fire and Rescue Association in 1974. He was secretary in 73. He served on the Hall of Fame and awards for Southern Maryland Volunteer Firemen's Association. where he was president in 2002. He served in many positions within the Prince Frederick Volunteer Fire Department, where he was operational officer from Sergeant of Arms to deputy chief as well, as chairing many committees. He served as president of the Prince Frederick in 1976 to 78, 92 to 95, 97 to 2002, 2001, and in 2005. But amongst all this, he has been on many committees over those 50 years for the MSFA, serving as officer, committee chair, and becoming president in 2010, and then taking over the secretary's position since he's had it since 2012. And he's also been on the Hall of Fame for the MSFA. He received the Hall of Fame in 2004, the Southern Maryland in 1997, the CCFRA in 97. He received the Gladhill Thomas Award in 07. And we're very proud to present this to Doyle for your many years and dedicated service. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
deserved. Congratulations. Isn't that great? That's the best part.
I'll save this one for convention.
Thank you all. Doyle, I don't know what to say. You know, for any of us, when we're on the road or we're going somewhere or we're doing something, it's like, oh, I forgot this. What's the answer? We call Doyle. And Doyle is gracious enough to answer the phone, right, when we call, because it's never short. Sometimes it's not pleasant intentionally because it's Doyle, but we do get good answers. Congratulations, Doyle. Just going to give you a heads up for a video in a second, but I'm going to do one other thing. And that is there's a hole tonight, and I was just looking around the room, and I noticed it, and I have to make one introduction. You know, we don't do introductions because we have to introduce the whole room, and that would take 45 minutes. Well, I'm going to take 2 minutes for this. Because I've known this man for decades upon decades in my fire service career. He started in Cecil County at the Singerly Fire Company. He has deep roots there. He went on to work for the University of Maryland for the Maryland Fire Rescue Institute, and Charlie will bear me out on this. He had an integral part in all of our professional development and moving us on to be instructors for the University of Maryland, which, like Charlie and I and many of you here have done for decades. And he took, if I remember correctly, but it's my story, so it is correct, and that is he took an executive loan position, and Steve Edwards loaned him to the Maryland Emergency Management Agency at the time. And he stayed there for a couple of directors, right? And Clay was one of them. But he is one of the first of us, and somebody can argue that point, the first of us to achieve a secretariat in the state position, right? And that is the Secretary of the Maryland Department of Emergency Management. I was very proud to be influential in that when I was director in Cecil County, and I'm very proud of Russell Strickland today, as I have been for my entire fire service career. Russell, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for all you have done, and thank you for your service to the state of Maryland. We now need to move to a video presentation. This is a special video message. We have seen a message similar to this in the past, and it's because the mayor of Ocean City doesn't come to Annapolis, but he waits for us to come to Ocean City. And to do that, he sends his invitation. Please welcome via video the mayor of the town of Ocean City, Rick Meehan.
Greetings, this is Ocean City Mayor Rick Meehan. I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to the Maryland State Firefighters Association outgoing President Charles Simpson Jr. and the Ladies Auxiliary outgoing President Joan Kramer. Thank you both for your outstanding leadership and dedicated service to your departments, your communities, and the state of Maryland. I'm sorry I could not be there in person at the celebration tonight. On behalf of the town of Ocean City, I wish all of you the best of luck, and I can't wait to see you in Ocean City at the 134th Annual Maryland State Firefighters Association Convention on June 20th. As I have often said, the summer season does not officially begin until the arrival of the Maryland State Firefighters Association. I'll see you then.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll all see him personally to thank him for that message, and we'll welcome him to the convention center as he brings greetings for us in Ocean City. For each of us, my dear friends, my ladies and gentlemen, all of us, we have a mission. The mission is we have to get to Berlin to get to Ocean City. Berlin is a big deal. The town of Berlin has opened their arms. The convention committee has worked tirelessly to put forth a program and a parade that is going to take us into the future. Part of the design of this is to give the young people of our convention a purpose, renewed purpose. Many of them working jobs cannot make it on Wednesday to the parade. The input from the questionnaire that went out was put it on a weekend so we can all come. Okay, here it is. Stimulate them along. Stimulate the chiefs to get their apparatus on the road and get it to Ocean City. They've got all morning to get there. We're looking forward to it. We need to get back to a couple-hour parade representing across the state. We need to renew the young people in this organization and their enthusiasm to bring it to Ocean City and bring it to the convention and bring it to the executive committee and work on the committees of this association. Only that is going to give us the success for this organization to travel into the future. We all love going to Ocean City. I certainly love going to Ocean City. No stories, thank you very much, forget it, all right? But we love going to Ocean City. All of us, right? Especially the program committee. Look forward to you being there. We look forward to your safe arrivals. We look forward to your families. I know we're in that wonderful week back this year or forward this year that puts us into different pricing brackets. We suck it up for 1 year and we go back to where we were. It's okay. We've been there before. So with that, it's been a pleasure to be with you this evening, but I'm going to ask Becky Wathen to please come forward for our benediction, but I'm going to recognize Caitlin Itsu over here is our 2026 first runner-up. We had the Miss Fire Prevention contest last week. And she's going to hit the ground running. And I didn't say, where's Sierra? I did not use the term armed and dangerous once tonight, until now. My armed and dangerous Miss Fire Prevention. All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I'll invite the chaplain to come forward and offer the benediction. Thank you.
Is everybody ready to stand up? Shall we stand? God our Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening so that we can visit with friends that we don't always get to see. May you provide them guidance as they continue on to the convention and look forward to electing our new officers. Please guide them on their way home and guide them safely to return home. With this we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, everyone. See you in Berlin. God bless you all. God bless Maryland and the United States. Have a great evening.